Hey everybody, hi, welcome to all the students and all the viewers at this admission fair at ABP Education, and I'm delighted to be present here with some real known voice and face around careers and education. Hi, this is Surabhi Dewra, founder careerguide.com, and with me it's Vivek Gupta, Srikanth Talluri and Chittresh here with us. So friends and all the students who's listening here, let me introduce this esteemed panelist to all of you. First, let me start with Mr. Vivek Gupta. Vivek, sir, have been known you for long, and he's one of the very good names and pretty interesting name when it comes to education, have been instrumental in setting up a lot of educational biz in India, like study places and hot courses, and is also an awarded career coach and a guide. Welcome, Mr. Vivek.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Surabhi.
Right. Now, next we have Mr. Chittresh, who has more than 12 plus years of experience into academics and 6 plus years of experience into corporate sector. And lovely to have somebody jumping into academics from corporate world. He's also one of the associate faculty member for Eastern Institute of Integrated Learning in Management, Kolkata. Welcome, Mr. Chittresh.
Thank you, Surabhi, and hello, everybody. Nice to see you.
Right. And next we have Mr. Srikanth Talluri, who is a global education leader, awarded a fellow in his field, and have quite a lot of educational entrepreneurial masterpiece to his name, like InCube, Soil, AI Journal, and Ask Anjali, right? Fantastic. So welcome, Mr. Srikanth, to this panel.
Hi, Surabhi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this event, and looking forward to a good discussion.
Right, fantastic. So this has been one of the this panel is all about how to choose right career, and I have been dedicated my life into helping students, figuring out how to choose right careers. So it would be lovely to hear from these panelists today. And I assume we can keep this entire discussion Hindi, English, and whatever is more comfortable. So for the students' sake, so let's start with Srikanth first. Srikanth, if you have to give tip to students, let's say in 2 bullet pointer, right? So what would be your top 2 career tips, for making right career choice for students out there?
Yes, Surabhi. Yeah, thank you for that question. So the 2 career tips, I think I could start off with is first explore, discover what you are really looking for, and then experiment. So explore and experiment are the 2 important factors which will take your careers in the right direction. And career over here, today's scope is more at 10+2, and how we make the decisions at the undergrad level, of course. But as a whole, and specific to that age, career is not static. It's a dynamic thing, like how Mr. Chittresh, he moved from industry to academia, complete paradigm shift, and same with me and most of the people, every 5 years. Earlier it was at least every 10 years. Now it's 5 years or 2-3 years, we make career choices. So continuous exploration of opportunities globally, and then parallelly experimenting while you're in academics, you're 10 or 10+2, or maybe at the undergrad level, or if you're working, doesn't matter. Your mainstream activities, while they're happening, I would strongly recommend anyone to experiment a parallel track of an alternate career. Need not have to bother about the results as such. And this is where, when we're getting involved in those problem solving, which is outside our comfort zone, where we never explored, where like banking or any kind of field is something new for somebody coming from a mechanical engineering, or somebody coming from +2, they might feel fascinated about the gaming technology. But when you start experimenting, you'll come to know, okay, the ins and outs of what this career or this particular live stream is all about. So the nitty-gritties is something we'll come to know only when we experiment. And for that, you can do it over the weekends, and you can do it with your friends, or you can do it with platforms like in Cube and the other platforms which are offering such kind of services. You don't have to take it as a mainstream education or a mainstream career choice as well. It's just like continuously explore and experiment and try to get into problem solving exercises, and the problem solving will give you more light, will throw more light on which specific direction or which specific area that you can fit into based on their strengths, and as well as the market needs or requirements. Preparing for something where there is no demand or which is legacy doesn't make sense. Spending time, money, and efforts doesn't make really sense. Okay, so we have to be relevant with the times. We have to make sure we have the right inputs to focus on, and this is where I say career discussions or career kind of efforts around career planning and all should be more like deciding on the starting point for the 10+2. That's more like starting point, not as an end point. Okay, this is where I end. No, that should not be the mindset. The mindset should be more like this is where I begin my career, or this is where I begin my professional life. And to know the starting point, you have to explore and experiment. That is the only mantra.
So you're saying explore and experiment is something which should come into picture. Vivek, what do you think? What are your 2 tips, very important tips for 10+2 students when it comes to choosing careers? Try to stick to 2 pointers.
Okay.
Elaborate those 2 pointers.
I'll try. So see, when I start, I think my thoughts would be slightly different from what Srikanth was saying. And, when I entered this career counseling, and Surabhi nicely pointed that it has been a long journey. So I believe in a very famous quote, and that belief can be right or wrong. The belief is from a guy called Galileo. And the quote is, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find within himself. Now, what do you mean by this quote? So this quote which is on some time it goes beyond the traditional education philosophy. And the quote says that most of us are born with some kind of talent, some kind of personality traits, which are usually formed by the time we turn 15 or 17. So few guys would be extrovert by nature, few guys would be introvert by nature, few guys would be good in technology, few guys would be good in creative field. And these things are mostly developed a lot by the age of 15 or 17. So what I always believe, that there is actually no right or wrong career, other than maybe very, very few which are absolutely obsolete careers. There are thousands of careers in India in which you can make millions of dollars, or the world. So which means there is no set rule of 10, 20, 50 careers. You can actually pursue at least a list of 1,000 careers in which you can be a billionaire. You have to find that career which matches your inherent personality, which matches your inherent aptitude which matches your inherent interest. And for that, a lot of psychometric tests are available. There are other techniques which people use, various counselors use. So I think if you talk about 2 tips, my first tip is try to find a career which suits your personality. Having said that, and then of course, when you choose a career which suits your personality, you can do great. And then if you are not able to do that, then of course there are 10, 12, 15 careers which always changes after 5 years. So if I talk about the last 3 years or 4 years, data science and AI and ML are the job givers thing. 10 years back, there was something else. 10 years later, there would be something else. So one way to approach career is choose a career which is in demand. The second thing is, if you do something which is close to, which matches your personality, I think you will carve out your way. You will live a good life for the next 40 years. If you are a creative guy and if you stick to a creative field, now the instruments may change, the tools may change, the atmosphere may change. But if you're a creative guy, you will have a career for the next 40 years. You have a tech guy, you have a career for 40 years. So when people move from corporate to academic, that is what I always tell them, that maybe you were born to be a teacher and you were struggling for the 20 years to fit yourself in corporate. And finally, you have realized that you are better as a teacher than a corporate shark or a corporate Django, because to survive in corporate, you need 10 different kind of skills, not only the education and not only the qualification. So you move to teaching because you realize that I am good in intellect, but maybe I am not very good in deal making, negotiation, and being diplomatic and all that. So for me, every career needs a 10 basic personality traits. And if a guy doesn't have those, it will be difficult to survive in that career, how lucrative that career can be. So that's how I preach, is that you have to choose and match your career as per your inherent personality traits, which are mostly developed, God gifted by birth. And by the age of 20, you have strengthened them finally.
You have worked upon. So identify those inherent skills, what you're good in, sharpen your strengths further. Mr. Chittresh, what's your comment towards that?
Yeah, some excellent points were mentioned by both Srikanth and Vivek. Thank you so much for that. I would like to say this, that first what one has to understand is that choice of career is a high involvement decision. So when we make a choice, first, when you buy a soap or maybe, something which is kind of automatic, you make you do not think whether, what will be the, risk if I make a wrong choice. But career choice is not like that. And all the great people who became successful in their career, they all have started early. So this is also like what Vivek was saying, instead of figuring it out by making so many mistakes, that you have to be very, sure that you are making a choice which matches with your internal strengths as well as weaknesses. You can do justice to your strength. You can stick around your strength area. This is very important. And it has also to be, congruent with what are the opportunities in the world, because world is fast changing. So you have to make the best choice depending on the hand that we have got. So no point in complaining about I should have been, raised this way. I have studied in a, vernacular medium place. So this is my first point. So it's a high involvement decision and it's your choice of career. So be serious about it. This is number one. And number two, remember that regardless of how serious you are, you can never be perfect. And it's never going to end. It's like a game you are playing and level after level after level, and it will move on. Maybe when you depart from this world, you are at the 65th level of this game. So it goes on. Things will always change. So it's a probabilistic world as well. So in a sense, I would like to.
All right, that's been some insightful comments from Mr. Chittresh. And all the three panelists touched upon the importance of exploring, experiment, and understanding that world is changing quite fast. The different careers are present around. And yes, you need to experiment to understand this. Taking this conversation ahead, I have next set and next insight which I would like to understand is on, do you really recommend students? And dear students, all of you are listening to this. It's important for you to listen to this point carefully from all the panelist members. So do you recommend that the new age careers, students should start exploring towards new age, non-conventional careers? What's your take on that? What I mean is doing away from management, engineering, medical, and starting with YouTube marketer, Instagram influencers, and food stylists, and wildlife photographer, and fashion stylist, all these new non-conventional careers. What do you think? Let me start with Mr. Vivek. What do you think about, and the question can rotate from Vivek to Srikanth to Chittresh, that should students really look these new age non-conventional careers as first choice?
Actually, Surabhi, once again, two thoughts. One is that there is no doubt that students should be looking at these new age careers. But I would actually add another line, that there is no option for the students other than looking at these new age careers. So once again, if I can share some data and it's a pretty good data, which again brings the information to the students. So, but most of the students doesn't know and doesn't understand. And so, without taking my own name, but I would say 20 years back, uh, and I live in Delhi, there were exactly 4 engineering colleges in Delhi. Now there are 400. Okay, so is with MBA, so is with many other conventional careers. So what has happened after the start of 2000 decade, lot of these institutes have mushroomed. Now few of them are really doing a good job, but sad to say, few of them are not at all doing a good job. And once again, coming back to my first point of matching your career, so why so many BTechs are unemployed in India? And I always tell that once again with a lot of confidence and conviction, is that maybe India needs only 1.5 lakh or maybe 1 lakh good BTechs every year. But we are producing 8 lakh BTechs every year. So the rest 7 lakhs, they are actually unnecessary number which is getting produced in India. The industry may be also looking at not more than 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh. You can choose a number. But because it was a wave 20 years back that do a BTech, get a job, go to US. But that rule was applicable when there were only 6 IITs. Now there are 23. The rule was applicable when the entire India has not more than 500 engineering colleges. Now there are 25,000. So the rule has completely changed. But the students or the parents doesn't know these things. They still believe that any BTech is as good as IIT Delhi BTech. Or any MBA is good as IIM Ahmedabad or Bangalore MBA, which is not the case. So especially for the students who are not able to crack the top 100, 200, 500, again, whatever number you guys can choose, college of that particular stream, that means maybe the student is not capable enough to pursue that stream. Otherwise, you may have cracked and gone to one of the top 1,000 BTech colleges, if not top 100. But if a student is choosing a BTech college which is lying like 4,000 in rank, so you are making a very wrong choice consciously. And rather than doing that, if you have taken that test, the test or any such counseling, maybe that counseling would have thrown out that you can be a great chef. So rather than wasting your time by doing a mechanical engineering for 4 years in a tier 6 college, the guy could have done a proper 3-year course of hotel management and be a great chef, which the industry wants, which the country wants, and you have a great career. So I would say this new age career exploration is not optional, it is needed. It is needed for these poor students to survive and thrive in the future. And maybe they can contribute far better for the growth of country, far better for the growth of their own family, their states, their cities, if they choose a career which matches again their personality. If somebody is going to a BTech college which is ranking 10,000, I can simply say that maybe the guy is not good enough to do a BTech, as simple as that. And the guy should have done.
This is very insightful. You're saying that there's no harm in going with conventional careers, but the mushrooming of institutions has deteriorated its quality, and unnecessary, supply is being created for the different professional, and makes a lot of sense.
Right.
If there are 20,000 BTech colleges, and if you are getting in 20,000 to 1, it makes more sense to go ahead with a new age conventional careers. I take a note of your point, but let's hear from Chittresh maybe what he has to say, especially coming from academic and a college management background.
Yeah, what I would like to add here, like I fully agree with Mr. Vivek has just mentioned. We have to understand that world has moved on. I mean, if we go on sticking with the same formula and we hope that great results is going to happen, it's not going to be like that. I mean, like he also mentioned that if you can be very good in it, of course you can get good results. But why wait there? There are plenty of other opportunities. It has opened up every invention that has taken place. It's kind of adding plethora of opportunities to the student for their career. And also one thing we have to remember that, see, Charles Darwin has mentioned, because we are the dominant species on this planet, because we are able to adapt to the changing environment, not because we are the strongest. There are far more stronger species who we actually, we came ahead of them in order to. So we have to adapt. Consistently, we have to adapt and we have to see what are the new opportunities that are coming up. And of course, with the changing situation, if I learn how to do a YouTube marketing, of course, many people are doing that. And it seems to be in reach of everybody. So you can figure that out. See, there are very few mistakes that you can make in your life when we are speaking about the career. So it's better to stick with your passion. This is not going to be easy because those challenging days are going to come in front of you. So if you are following an outdated formula, you will suddenly find yourself doing mediocre. And your worth in any career will be decided based on what? How easily or how difficulty they will have in replacing you. So whether you are irreplaceable. So now artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, all the new innovations in technology is gradually outdating so many jobs. Every day we see all those lower rung jobs which were done by the conventional tech persons. These are getting outdated. So only you have to be present as a human being with originality of thinking and ability to influence certain decision making. Unless you are able to make yourself to that position, you are going to be a very mediocre life, my friend, and always be on the risk of losing to the machine. So this is what I would like to say here.
I really appreciate your point saying that we are not the strongest species, but we are the most adaptive species, and it should be reflected even in our career choices. And definitely, Chittresh is all yes for non-conventional new age careers coming forward. Srikanth, what do you have to say?
I agree with
all
both
the students out there.
Yeah, both Vivek and Chittresh has raised wonderful insights, which are worth commendable. And when it comes to your point, Surabhi, should they go for non-conventional careers or jobs? I would consider them or categorize them more into the gig economy jobs. Okay, so these gig economy jobs, they don't have a specific exact role, responsibility, or exact skill set and all. They're more like fast evolving, and your digital marketing, your YouTube marketing, your TikTok videos, and from there, that is content generation is what I'm referring to. So you can quickly generate the content. Yes, this is what even the big brands do. They want people who can manage their social channels, their brand presence across globally. So I think all these jobs, they're all like micro MBA programs. Either you do it by yourself, like a pocket money entrepreneur is what I call. Spend like 5,000 to 10,000 or 25,000 from your pocket, kick off a business. Even if you're making 50K on that, yes, you're a profitable businessman. I did that. I can give my own story. When I was in my BTech first year, 2001, I kicked off a bookstore just for the undergrad and graduate books, not the regular notebooks and all, just for those subject oriented books and all. I never had an MBA or an entrepreneurship framework then. It was just out of passion. I had to travel 1.5 hours one way. It's almost 3 hours, two way to go and even get a small book, from my place. And I know that there are so many, almost every household is having an engineer because of the fascination what Vivek was mentioning. Every household had an engineer then. And it just sparked, and we just experimented. We didn't do much analysis paralysis then. It was just like at the age of 18 we kicked it off, and it worked. And whatever I learned there was in an unstructured manner. And when the same thing, when I moved to industry, and then when I went to Stanford, for all those entrepreneurial studies, these were the real frameworks, the problem solving that I did and with my friends then really helped me correlate to what the real entrepreneurship is. What is supply chain? What is the logistics that we're referring to? What is the value chain? Why we need marketing in place. We even climbed trees in those days to actually tie those banners. This was back in 2000. Today you don't need that. You need digital banners today, digital, your web presence, whatever you do. Yes, but you learn by doing. You learn only by doing, and these frameworks will eventually tomorrow when you want to change your, when somebody wants to change, their career line, all these, the insights, the knowledge that we gain here, this is portable. You're not leaving it there. No, this is portable. So getting involved in these gig economy jobs or the unconventional workplaces, like we refer to these hackathons. I encourage them, students to participate in internships, hackathons, boot camps, volunteership. Go and work with police. Help them solve the problems. You will understand what a society is. Be part of the system. Think out of the box, and come up with the solutions. Then it makes more sense. Then we will understand. Okay, this is why I'm learning mathematics, or this is why I'm learning physics, or all your engineering concepts, or supply chain, and all the entrepreneurial frameworks, the management frameworks, the technological frameworks. All these put together, yes, we are applying it somewhere. And with these jobs, which Surabhi was referring to, you will definitely get a gist of what it is. And as you, mature, as you actually move forward in your life, personal, professional, and social life, right? They are portable and they evolve with you. They're going to help you. And qualifications, formal qualifications and all, yes, they help, people get complete frameworks and understand, okay, where all they are applied through the case studies and where you can apply in the future. But yes, getting into such kind of jobs or activities or problem solving, what I refer to always, getting into problem solving exercises at whatever scope. You want to start up something, don't worry about the failure. The knowledge that you're gaining from the real world, the world is our school. And then any campus, yes, they're like the subsets of the real world, right? So I don't think, we'll have to think more on that. Get into any kind of a job and you learn a lot from there. While you're at school or college, go volunteer. You don't have to worry about who will pay you, who will not pay you. Yes, go and offer, volunteer time for volunteership, and you'll see the results. What you gain from those experiences is something which you can't get even if you're paying 100,000 or a 1 crore fee, even in the top-notch institution in the world. Yes, I bet on that.
Sure. So Srikanth, I really appreciate bringing that insight. So Srikanth has been saying, if I have to summarize, that these new age conventional jobs are amazing. Don't even think about starting. The way he took his example, they will teach you risk-taking abilities, some new economy skills. They will teach you some money-making skills. And as you keep growing, as you keep evolving, these skills will be even transferable. You can transfer them and you can move ahead to higher degrees in terms of evolution, in terms of education, but not degrees per se. Degree makes a lot of sense. This was very insightful personally, even for me, Vivek, Chittresh, Srikanth, and at the same time to all the viewers. Towards the end of the session, we'll be last 15 minutes. We will be taking your questions also. So feel free to keep sending your questions, because we'll be taking down your questions and panel will end up answering those questions. I'll be going towards a very controversial topic when it comes to about choosing careers. It's about decision of parents and decision of students, right? And how should one do this? How should one manage this conflict of what my parents want me to do and what I want to do? And that might also connect to that kid wants to do a non-conventional career and a parent wants to go ahead and beat into conventional career. How would somebody navigate this decision? And I'll start with Mr. Chittresh. Please share that. And Chittresh, if you could also share some personal example or some real-time examples or case study, that would be really appreciable.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting topic, and this dilemma is never going to end. We have seen that in Olympic or Asian Games, there is a event called relay race. I mean, we always see that parents are all, they try and maybe they do not fully succeed, or better than using the word they failed. And they want their kids to do what they wanted to do and they failed. And then kids, they forget about their own passions and they do what the parents are asking them to do. And they expect their kids to do their bidding. So instead of, continuing with this relay race, why don't we take a decision that the student, when he's trying to fulfill, since the world is giving you a lot of opportunity, it's like, it's not just the highest IQ guy, or it's not just the like wealthiest person's son or daughter. So it's a clear, frame of opportunities. So in that scenario, I'd strongly suggest that students has to consider, see, the parents are all well-wishers. They are concerned about certain thing because they are, they want the kids to succeed. Because many times it has been seen that people are just, instead of saying that they are passionate about something, but they are just, probably they're curious about something. Because what happens, Steve Jobs was asked this question that, like, why do you say that do not get into a business where you are passionate about it? He said that, see, it's very difficult, because if you are passionate about it, but when those problems will come, you will feel like quitting. And if you are really sane, then you will quit. Unless you quit, you are insane. And if you are insane, then you are really passionate. So student is the best person to judge that. So I would say that, see, there are lots of opportunities coming out. The media is exploding with opportunities. So are the hospitals exploding with opportunities. So are this business analytics, data science. If you look at, like other places, this management world is exploding with opportunities. So opportunities are everywhere. But my point is, am I, interested in having? Virtually speaking, there are only 4 types of career choices a person can do. One is, you can choose to be an employee. So if you want to be an employee, you have to be really good at something, and you have to be irreplaceable. Put yourself in a frame where the employer finds you irreplaceable. So then your value will be, let's say it will grow. Or you can be a self-employed person. You can be a professional like the lawyer or the doctor or the CA. So in that case, you give a high, tax to the country. You will help the country building, and then you will also have your own identity. Thirdly, you can be a business person. In business person, you have to think about, consistently working, look at Elon Musk of Tesla. So after whatever he got from PayPal by selling PayPal, he invested entire thing to Tesla. Now everybody is selling Tesla. But the initial years were especially challenging. He had to sleep in a floor. I mean, nothing was there. So if we accept whatever he's saying is true, and we have strong reason to believe that this is true, because it also is congruent with what other entrepreneurs talk about. So we see that, setting up a business, it remains like you have to kind of, give your life to it. You have to sacrifice a lot of things. Now, are you willing to make that much sacrifice? So while choosing things, it's wishful thinking and real passion. You have to differentiate between that. See, since you can sing well, you have a good voice, does not mean you can be the next superstar in the music world. It is paved with competition. So these are the things you have to keep in mind. So 3 career choices I talked about. The 4th choice can be an investor. Look at Warren Buffett. So you choose your role models. Whatever type of career you'd like to choose, you choose your role model accordingly. See what are the problems they have faced, how they geared up, how they rose to the occasion to face those challenges that they had to surmount in order to be successful. And then take the responsibility on your own shoulder. You do not choose something only because your parent is saying something. You have to talk. You have to say, sir, you are thinking in terms of a 60s, 70s song. You are very good, but you can sing in voice of Kishore Kumar. Do you mean to say with that you can have a music career? You cannot have. You can entertain people in parties. So remember, you cannot run a old CD and think to be successful in today's world. So students has to understand these are the choices we have. The world has moved on. There are new things, but they must be willing to learn. So be a continuous learning machine and make the best of the opportunities.
There's something both to understand at parents' end, the way Chittresh is saying, and at the same time, both at the students' end, they should not consider their curiosity as a passion and passion as a career. That's fantastic. Vivek, what do you think? How should this conflict should be managed between parents and students? What's your take on that? And I'm sure you get to meet so many people who really want to do this and parents push their agenda.
Right. And honestly speaking, so I would say there are three or four kind of sets that you find. But so let me elaborate. So sometimes, I get to meet a lot of people where definitely the process shows that student is interested in a particular career, and the parents are not very willing to allow the student for that career. Sometimes not from the financial or the career growth perspective. It is because of the societal impression about that career. So once again, taking the same example, a guy is telling us, imagine a 12th studying male who says, sir, I am just passionate about cooking and I can actually cook for 4 hours a day. And it's a male. Okay, so not to be the gender bias. And the guy is very clear. Let me.
All the top chefs in the world are male. They are not male.
So he is willing to do that. And the parents are telling me, what will I tell the neighbors? Our kid is doing hotel management, because the problem in India is few careers doesn't get the same dignity in the society. So even if you are a 5-star chef, you are called a chef or a cook or something else. And again, I've seen it personally a lot, that so if you are a white collar job in a big office, even earning a 20,000 rupees is appreciated far more than a blue collar work who's earning 80,000 rupees in terms of money if you talk about. So when this conflict comes, and very frankly, finally it happens. So I asked the parents, I said, you are pushing him to do something, and I can assure you right now, I take the parents aside, that your guy is going to fail in this particular career which you are pushing him. He says, sir, we don't about the career anyway. After this graduation, we will get her married. Or as a guy, he will sit in my business. So it is just a matter of finishing the graduation so that we can show to the world that my kid is a pada likha kid. My kid is an educated kid. Trust me. So that is when the parents have their way, when they clearly tell me that the real reason for my kid to do the graduation is just waiting to get married. Whenever a parent is really bothered about the career, and then I tell him, I have seen MBBS doctors leaving MBBS course after 3rd year. A student who is pursuing MBBS from a private college in India, after spending 90 lakh rupees of the parents, dropped the course after 3rd year because the guy is from a wealthy family. So let me bring another perspective, especially for the people who are coming from upper middle class or rich families. Parents cannot force them anyway beyond a point. So, and I asked them the same question. But if your kid leaves BTech after 3rd year, leaves MBBS after 2.5 years, what you will do? So we can't do anything. We will allow him to do. So I said, then why you want to waste your 80 lakh rupees? I actually saved a family to go. The girl was trying to go to, the parents were pushing the kid to go to US for BTech. And it was realized after our discussion that the guy is bound to do marketing. And I told them, you will send this guy today by pushing. The guy will be back in India after 1.5 years for sure. And your 60 lakh would be gone. Now what do you want to do? And then, sir, you saved us, and let him prepare for the UG BBA entrance exams and let him pursue the career of BMS or BBA. Similarly, then there can be a balance also. So again, I met a family. The kid really wanted to be a DJ, right? DJ after class 12. Sir, I just want to be a DJ. I just love music and all that. And we figured out that DJ is a very specific career, but bachelors of journalism and mass communication can be slightly generic, which will have the same feelings and will give that assurance of a degree which a parent is looking at. So the kid was also happy that I can pursue PGMC, which is more or less related to my passion, and let me pursue the DJ course as a diploma. So both people were pretty happy. The parents are happy, sir, at least we want this guy to be graduated. He should have a graduation for future. And because in India, if you want to go abroad, even in passport, if you are a graduate, you get ECRs, otherwise you don't get. So parents are generally coming from that background, have a degree. In worst times, it will help you. In very bad times, it will help you if you have a degree in your hand. So I said, let us have a balance. The guy will pursue BGMC, which will take care of his passion, not to the 100% extent, but broadly. It will satisfy your interest that the guy should be graduated. And I told the kid, with this course, you can do a 6-month or a 3-month or a 9-month DJ course. And as Srikanth was rightly pointing out, start talking about, or if the same passion happens in class 11th, I always encourage them to, why don't you start playing as a DJ, do some real internships, and then let us figure out, is it a crush for 5 days, or is it a real passion which you want to pursue for your life? So I think most of the times the balance is able to find out. So again, as a counselor, you have to figure out from where the parent is coming. Was he pushing the kid? Because, and then I tell them that, again, the same BTech MBA story. I told them that your guy is anyway not going to get into top 1,000 BTech colleges. And after that, trust me, is going to be a call center job. So anyway, what benefit would you get by giving him a BTech degree if he's going to be an Amazon or a Flipkart customer care employee? So it is better to let him pursue his passion. And of course, if you still want a degree, he can just do a BCA or a BSc from a nearby college, because if that is the degree is all about. Because anyway, for him, BTech is also going to be a piece of paper. He's not going to learn anything, because the God hasn't just given him the right IQ to understand the books of BTech. So how he will become a BTech? So that is how it happens.
You are saying the ownership is on both parents and students. It could be a small time puppy love crush or a long time love translating to marriage. How would they understand? And that boils down to the fact that all three of the panelists were putting on question 1: how do they explore? So the commitment of exploration and experimentation will come into picture. Fantastic. And Srikanth, what do you think about this? Because I think this is possibly our last round of, discussions which we are doing, and we'll be taking a question answer from audience. So the question here is, parents, how do you, and Srikanth, if you can actually give some practical examples and practical answers on how can we resolve this conflict between parents and students? What are some ways? And of course, we'll understand one way could be intervention of counselors, the way Vivek mentioned. What are some of your other practical ways and real-time examples?
Sure, Surabhi. Yeah. So to what Vivek and Chittresh were mentioning, right? So that psychological safety is what drives parents. I want to address all the parents here. So your decision making, the mindset is always driven based on the psychological safety, the social impression, and then of course, how much return on investment. That is how much money your son or daughter is going to make. And because every parent, my parents, your parents, everybody on this planet, they're all well-wishers. They want their next generation to live in a better way compared to us. This is why they put all their efforts. They do a lot of sacrifices. They even, mortgage their properties and make sure, the son or daughter, the kid is actually attending the best of the best schools. Hyderabad alone has 2.8 lakh education loans for the high schools. Just imagine, this is in 2020. It's a published report. Okay. So just imagine throughout the country and throughout the world. And why, we have to equally respect the parents' concern, but, the problem is with the exposure for that parent, because they might be in some other profession, or even if they're in a relevant profession, maybe a generation earlier. So the frameworks are not relevant, or completely, they're blind towards what's happening in the world. And when it comes to the real world examples, I'll give you what's happening with our, organization. We have high schoolers from 8th grade, that is 13 years and above, because their cognitive ability starts, becoming strong and more impactful from that age. We have students from that age, come and explore and write the stories on artificial intelligence and where all it is applied. So this is on the website, I can share those details. So we have more than 25 stories in the last 1 year of our existence. And these stories are not just written by people in Hyderabad, students from Hyderabad alone. It is from across the world. We have students from Toronto, from San Jose, Bay Area, from Atlanta, Middle East, India, Singapore, Australia. And when they are given the opportunity to perform, and that is when the parents actually, they were amazed. Initially, I should appreciate, those early adopter, the forward-thinking parents who came forward and let the students experiment with us. And when they saw the outcome, okay, in a guided environment, of course, of their own kids, the work from their own kids, coming up with a story on artificial intelligence for a working professional with 10 to 15 years of experience itself, it's a big challenge, I'm telling you. And when a high schooler or a fresh undergrad, a freshman comes up with such stories and publishes in the public domain with the confidence, that is when they understood, oh, okay, they have this ability. Their baseline is totally different. And few students, I can take the names as well, Harshita, Sahiti, Shankar, Sai, they're working on Ask Anjali, which Surabhi was mentioning. It is a conversational AI bot, a lightweight bot, but they're trying to solve the problem of the gap that this pandemic has created, and where through a chat interface, can we render a daily, like a daily food packet in the flood, pandemic time, daily education, or the classroom packets. That's it. So kids are not deprived of education, and they are going in asset-light manner. And they're all from grade 11, grade 12, and undergrad, except Shankar, who graduated 2 years back. They're all below, between the 15 to 25 years of age. Their parents let them experiment. Yeah, they're not doing it that easy. They're struggling there. Let them struggle. We want our kids to be prince and princess. My recommendation is let them be crown prince and crown princess, not just the prince and princess. Okay, comfort, luxury, but a crown prince should know how to fight, fight within his mind as well as, fight the war. Okay, if we are basically protecting our kids, in a protected environment where we are not letting them really go and explore the real world, the stress, let them take the stress. That's fine. Okay, they will evolve from there. And I really appreciate, the parents who are engaged with us today for letting their kids actually move out of their comfort zone. And now they're exploring new dimensions, which is helping them actually make decisions along with the parents and along with the other, the community, the subject matter expert community, or the advisory, within their family or friends, and make right career choices. Like today, Sahiti is moving to University of British Columbia for her undergrad. And Harshita, she wants to target IIT Mumbai, but she wants to step there as a small-time entrepreneur, a tech entrepreneur, rather than, moving, graduating as an entrepreneur is different. She wants to step into a campus as a tech entrepreneur. This is the kind of zeal that the students are having today. And if the parent and their mindset, or, the social impressions, or, those psychological safety factors, if they become the hindrance for any child or any student, right? Maybe we are missing those great personalities, who can completely disrupt, the world as such, yeah. And one classic example is, let me just quickly refer to the name, because Dr. Virginia Tower, she was the person actually who designed and who, the first satellite camera, and where we saw the world for the first time from the space. And she was guided at a school level, high school level, by the counselors, saying that, for your, pardon me, Vivek, this might be in conflict with your opinion, but she was guided by the school advisor, saying for your inherent qualities, or maybe for your personality, you should take up library sciences. You will be a perfect fit there. But she didn't accept that. This was like 50 or 60 years back. She went, against that, whatever the advisory. And finally, she, she's the one who gifted the first picture of our planet, to us from the space.
I'll assume the counselor was not very effective, instead of saying the counseling process is not effective.
No, I'm not blaming anyone here. My point is here.
And then moving
Yeah,
to
even
yeah. Srikanth, in fact, the similar questions have come by users exactly on the point you are discussing. So let me take this discussion forward and ahead in terms of users' question. I don't have names here, but in fact, this person says that, how do we know, and this is almost the same discussion we have been having, how do we know which, no. I'm creative, but my parents are insisting I go for a BCom. so that I have a job assured. My heart lies in graphics and animation. What should I do? So I believe that, every panelist have been saying graphics and animation is as high paying, in fact, more high paying than going and doing a BCom. You need to visit a counselor. You need to take your parents along. Do a pro and con study of studying BCom and studying graphic and animation. And as all the panelists have been talking, that parents want your good. It's only the statistics and data is missing. They are listening to 70s song, whereas we are in 2000s, right? They are still listening to record players, whereas we are listening music on iPods and beyond. So yes, give the data and information. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, exactly. See, so when we speak to the parents, it is exactly the same point. I said, sir, you are right from your own perspective, but what you don't know or you never realize how the world has changed. And I'm not talking about being a wildlife photographer. The world has changed in the last 30 to 40 years. So once again, a very basic feedback. My father was just a class 10th grad pass out, and now he's no more, but he was born in 1939. And he used to tell us in his time, a class 10th pass guy can also get a government job, right? That to a white collar government job and without any exam. So till 1970s in India, government jobs were available without any entrance exam, because number of people who were actually taking the pain to do a graduation were so limited that if you are a graduate, for the same example, if you are a BCom guy, the number of BComs was so small that the job was assured. The number of diploma holders in 1960s and 70s were so small that not even the job was assured, government job was assured. Then come 80, 90, 90s, where corporate sector jobs were assured. Today, the biggest unemployed breed is BCom, right? I think the BCom is a guarantee of unemployment, unless until you are doing from Shri Ram College of Commerce or those kind of reputed institutes. It's a guarantee for unemployment. So, but the poor parent just doesn't know, because he knows the stuff of 40 years back. They don't know.
Exactly. I think Srikanth, I think all of us have made this point clear. Thank you, Vivek and Srikanth, for touching upon this point. Srikanth, is a question for you. Sir, I have gone through the website of SOIL. I think I've pronounced this right, SOIL.
Yes.
Can one go through immersive lab experiences as the ones mentioned there in addition to graduation?
Okay, so what was that question? Can one immerse in the lab experience?
Can one go through immersive lab experiences as the ones mentioned there in addition to graduation?
Yes, of course. Yeah, the kind of labs that we have placed has nothing to do with which major you're in, which particular program you're into. It doesn't matter, because to me, this is my opinion, and of course what we are promoting from SOIL, the current syllabus or whatever, the most of the programs, not every program, are irrelevant, like how Vivek was mentioning about BCom and all. Okay, and the baseline shift now, like how typing and shorthand, once people used to go to institutes in graduation days and all, now it is like a 1 year, 2 year kid. My kid, she'll play around with YouTube and other things, she'll type, as an expert. And also the same thing, your commerce skills, your economics, everything. The baseline has shifted at the high school level only. They're training all those frameworks. Okay, and you don't have to go and spend again 2 to 3 years and wasting your valuable time, efforts, and all gaining those degrees and all. Rather, you can get into programs which are more futuristic and all. Any institution, you can explore them. But these labs here, irrespective of any stream, if you're 13 years and above, you have the passion and commitment. Yes, they are immersive. You go do the discovery part. We follow a 60 problem solving framework, our proprietary, where you are into the discovery exercises. You do the market research, you do a lot of empathy exercises, and then you define the pulp out of all your research. So this is more of the business and the marketing research kind of roles. And then your business modeling skills comes into picture. And then you design a conceptual solution around it. And then, you derive the building blocks. whatever technology, human resource, and
Sure.
non-technology resources, and then develop and deliver the solution. And highly immersive, I would say. And I encourage anybody, to actually participate there. Though we have limited intake there, yes, they are fully immersive. Yes.
So, Chittresh, you're coming from management background, representing a management university. Somebody has asked whether B-plan studies are emerging as less known subjects. Can you throw some light on that career option? I believe the person wants to say business plan, business management, or entrepreneur. The question is whether B-plan studies are emerging.
I think you're right. I think he's talking about, or she's talking about, like whether like planning part is taught. I mean, planning is integral part of all management courses. Without planning, there cannot be any management courses. But specifically, if you say a course on planning, I don't think it is anywhere in the world. So probably it means in management, whether we teach them how to make strategic planning. Maybe he is going to be a future entrepreneur or so. So that's why you ask. So I think management is the perfect place for him to be. I mean, if somebody is really that interested to be an entrepreneur, you look at things from a business perspective, because it is not just your idea. When you are small, when you start your business, it can be a one-person show, but later on you have to kind of give responsibilities to others. That is called leverage. So when you want to do that, you of course require that kind of an mindset. We have seen people doing that. We have an incubation cell also. People who are interested in entrepreneurship, we give them special benefits. Sometimes we also give them some money to start. The starting capital also we give as a loan. Of course, there is some kind of business interest. But then ultimately, there are some businesses that become successful. Like one business, like Shumona was the guard. She started a food delivery truck kind of a thing. So that was very successful. So there are some examples like that. So we thoroughly teach them how to do planning. And there is, in fact, it is covered in the course as well. Yeah, they have to do a business planning, and it's a 100 marks paper. So that is comprehensively covered in the management.
Okay, I'm taking last 3 questions, and this is open to any panelist can pick this and answer it. What career can I build by taking an English honors degree? Open to any of the panelists, whoever wants to pick it.
Yeah, okay. Sure. I think English honors.
Yes.
Vivek, please, you can.
Yeah, sorry. So I think for that student, something which is very obvious is to be a literature person in future. So being an author is very obvious stuff. Then, especially in India, we see it lecturer or teachers to be the second choice. Coming from that, you can take actually any public service entrance exam if you are English honors graduate, and then we can say there can be non-conventional careers. So you can be a creative writer, you can be a copywriter, and once again, just to quickly add in here, and I know I was just missing. I was waiting to add this line. So media plays a slightly bad part because they only showcase the IIT and salary or IIM salary, but they don't tell to the world. And because I have a friend who was recently working at that position, that just the creative head of the let's say big airlines, the creative head of website of that airline, he was getting a salary of 1.5 crores, right? Mm-hmm. Which is far better to be a B.Tech from a Tier 5 college. But just these things are not covered in media. Creative guy, a copywriter in a big ad agency, the guy who gave Nike Just Do It, I think he's a billionaire. The guy who was able to come up with 3 words is a billionaire. So is the career for English honors. If you have a knack of creating these one-liners, the money can be endless. The career can be endless.
Sure. Can I add just one thing to what Vivek has said? Yeah. See, there is a concept called framing. Richard Thaler and Daniel Kahneman, they won the Nobel Prize for their prospect theory and framing these things. So how you frame the thing? If you say it's English honors, then it's English honors. But English can be thought as a means to communicate with people. Then right. Your world becomes what Vivek was talking about. I mean, you can be an copywriter and immensely, or you can create your own channel in YouTube and you can persuade people. So as English honors, the field is immense. It depends what you are going to make out of it. So right. framing that.
Sure. And with this, I'm sorry to all those whose questions I was not able to pick, but feel free to reach out to these panelists on their LinkedIn and figure out and talk to them and ask your questions. My thanks to Chittresh, Srikanth, Vivek, and ABP for conducting this panel discussion, and good luck to all the students out there trying to make a good career. Know that you have the potential, you can do it. Just ensure that you have the right mentoring to do it. And with this, thank you and have a good evening. Thanks, and over to ABP Education team.
Thanks, Surabhi. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
It's
Surabhi.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.